Welcome back. In this session, we will see what are the different types of cloud computing, what is the difference between all of them, and where they are applicable. There are basically four types. We have on-premise hosting, infrastructure as a service, we usually call it IaaS. Then it's a platform as a service, PaaS, usually called as PaaS, and software as a service, which is also called as SaaS. So let's take a look at each of them one by one. Let's start. Let's say you're working with some organization which is reluctant or which is hesitant to host its applications or data on the third-party servers. And this may be due to they have lot many commercial contracts with their clients. They restrict you to host the data on third parties. They may have some legal obligations. They may have strict data access or sharing policies, and that is why they take this decision. This hosting of the entire infrastructure in your own office or in your own network is called as on-premise hosting. This on-premise hosting comes with a liability or with the responsibility that you need to maintain or manage everything by yourself. You need to have a networking team who manages the whole network. You need to have server administrator who can take the charge of server, can buy the servers, can manage the servers. And then if your company demands virtualization, then handle all the VMs for your infrastructure. Then data sharing, data access, data management, all these things need to be managed by your own resources. This is one of the responsibility also, and on one side, if you see, it is the drawback also, because you need to be expert in it. If you see, another drawback is that it it brings a lot of costs which are upfront and maybe one time. Like you need to buy the server, so to buy the server you may end up directly with the $10,000 cost per server, which is a huge cost to pay upfront. If you want to buy 5 servers, it goes up to 50,000, and so a lot of upfront cost you have to pay. That is the another drawback. The great benefit in this on-premise infrastructure is that you can have the hold of data. You have the complete hold of your data by your own. You don't share anything out, and you can have your policies your own. There is no binding on you. If you do not have any such a binding, if you do not have any so much strict data hosting policies, and if you don't have so many experts with you, then you can choose another type of hosting that you can call as IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. With infrastructure as a service, you don't need to worry about networking, storage, server, virtualization of the servers. You just need to be worried about your own application, and you need to host that application, run that application, and manage it your own. Rest things which are related to hardware, you don't at all need to worry. What you get in infrastructure as a service is generally you can directly log into your remote server and start working, and that happens within few minutes. You log in, you then set up your IaaS or any web server, and you can directly host your application. On the server you have cron job, you directly install those cron jobs on the machine that you have got. You don't really need to worry about what happens behind the scenes, how these are managed. That is on one side, that is the benefit, that you don't need to worry about these things. On the other side, that is a drawback, that you don't know anything what's running behind. and if something fails, then you don't have control over it. Though you may have some redundant backups and everything in place, but at the end you don't direct have any direct control on it. It is run by third parties. That is the only drawback. The major benefit of this is you don't have any upfront costs. You may spend a few $100 a month, and you can start using the service. So there is no as such great uh, upfront costs for you like you have an on-premise infrastructure. IaaS you can directly start with. Now, you don't really need to host everything. You just want to use some services from the cloud and you want to integrate them and build your applications. Then you have the next infrastructure, the next type of cloud computing that is called as PaaS. Now, let's say you don't have any complex infrastructure, you don't have any complex jobs or any complicated stuffs in your infrastructure. You just want to build some site, some website with some database. What you would do generally, you would go to, let's say, Azure platform, as we're having these Azure sessions. So you go to Azure, you go for Azure SQL database, you go for Azure App Service, you buy those services, pay them monthly costs, and directly consume those services. And you host your applications with the help of both. Now here you have limited access to this. You are only given your whatever needed by you. Rest of the infrastructure of the behind the scene, whatever is there, how SQL is installed, how your .NET framework or .NET Core is installed, how is it maintained, you don't really need to bother about that. Not even the hardware, as we even saw in the IaaS, there also you don't need to worry about. But IaaS you choose when you have some complex infrastructure, and for PaaS you just want to have some applications which will just you want to build some applications which will utilize the services directly and you can host them. So in this case you use PaaS, that is PaaS. This is cheaper than IaaS because IaaS is built for complex ones. You have complete hold on your remote computer, virtual machine. Here you don't have any control on virtual machine. You're just using it as a service. That's why it is cheaper. You just need to pay monthly costs, but there are limitations. IaaS has no software limitation. You have everything, every control by yourself. You can manage anything there. Here it's a different story. In earlier cloud computing types, what we saw that you want to host your applications and you need some infrastructure for that. So you go for PaaS, SaaS, oh sorry, PaaS, then IaaS or on-premise infrastructure. Now there is another type that is called as SaaS. SaaS is not something that you develop, which is already developed application and you want to access it. You just want to manage your own data, like you have Office 365, you build, you create your own documents or spreadsheets on it. You may have the mail servers, mail services like Gmail, you have Google Apps, you have Office, you have Outlook.com. So these are the applications which are ready to use for you. You just access them and start working. These are the ready applications developed. You don't need to worry about anything. You're just consuming them for your own purpose and you do them and you work on them and you achieve your own tasks. Now, here this is not really related to development or the infrastructure, but as the cloud serves this type of infrastructure also, that is why it falls under the types of cloud computing. In reality, it has nothing directly to do with the development, but cloud offers it, and that's why it is generally added into these categories. To summarize, we saw all four types of cloud computing: on-premise, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. On-premise infrastructure, we have to maintain everything. Only go if you are expert and you have very strict policies and you are okay to bear the upfront costs. If no, then go for IaaS, where you have almost the same control, but you don't have any responsibility of the networking or the server administration and all these stuffs, hardware stuffs. If you don't have even the server administrators with you, then you can directly go for the PaaS. But in reality, IaaS can be handled by developers also, so there is no problem in you going for IaaS if you don't have great data security policies. PaaS is something you go for it if you just want no liability or no responsibility, just consume the services and you're done for your application. SaaS is nothing, has nothing to do with the data, nothing to do with the development or deployment of applications, but these are ready deployed applications which you just consume and do your stuffs. Like you have Word and online Word, online Excel, you just consume them and write your documents. Okay, this is all about the cloud computing types. Let's see you in the next video. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, then please subscribe the channel. Take care.